I never knew I'd find love in a place so cold, could a single night thaw my heart. The wind howled like a lost soul, swirling snowflakes that danced wildly in the dim streetlight. I stood shivering, my breath escaping in clouds of fog, each heartbeat echoing in my chest like a drum. The world around me felt like a painting, one of dark blues and grays, each corner shrouded in mystery. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. My heart was heavy, stitched together with the wounds of past loves, each scar etched deep. As I wrapped my scarf tighter, a familiar ache gripped me. The freezing cold numbed the pain, but it couldn't erase the memories. It was a small town, where whispers traveled faster than light. I had moved here when hope flickered dimly in my chest, a fresh start. My family thought a change of scenery would help, but the shadows of my past lingered. My sister Mia, always my cheerleader, encouraged me to embrace the unknown. "You'll meet someone special. Just give it time," she'd say, her blue eyes sparkling with belief. Then there was Ben, my best friend since childhood. His laugh echoed in my mind, a warm reminder of comfort. Yet, Ben was hiding something. I could feel it. A flicker behind his eyes that hinted at secrets. Tonight felt different. The frostbitten air buzzed with an unfamiliar energy. A strange nickname had surfaced on the lips of the townsfolk, the Iceman. They spoke in hushed tones about how he roamed the streets, cloaked in shadows, leaving behind a trail of silence and stares. They said he was haunting, captivating. I shivered not only from the cold but from curiosity. With each step, I felt the electricity of the night wrapping around me like a blanket. I clutched my hands together, trembling slightly. I had to find out if the stories were true. The old diner at the corner beckoned with its warm yellow glow. The door creaked as I entered, the warmth hitting me like a wave. But the atmosphere shifted. Eyes turned to me, whispers fell to a hush. The Iceman. He sat in the far corner, shrouded in shadow but undeniably magnetic. My heart raced. He looked up, and our eyes locked. A rush of heat coursed through me against the chill that enveloped the rest of the world. Who was he? What lay behind that enigmatic gaze? For a split second, time stopped, and all I felt was the weight of his stare. A single heartbeat stretched into eternity. The old jukebox crackled to life, a familiar tune whispering across the room. I would never forget that moment, the way everything felt both fragile and electric. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As I stood frozen in place, my pulse quickening under the weight of that shared glance, the world around us faded. I could almost hear the whispers of the diner quieting to nothing, an unspoken understanding settling like dust over our moment. Time regained its rhythm, but the electric pull between us only intensified. I should have looked away, retreated to safety, but his gaze wrapped around me, daring me to step closer. Mia's words played in my mind, just give it time. In less than 5 seconds, I felt more alive than I had in months. I took a tentative step toward him, driven by an impulse I couldn't decipher. Suddenly, Ben's laughter erupted from somewhere behind me, shattering the palpable tension. "Hey! WHYD, you just disappear on me?" He called out, his voice overly cheerful, pulling me back into the reality I tried to evade. I turned, finding his familiar face flushed with warmth, unaware of the enormity of what just happened. The ache of our friendship hung like a veil, making me question if I could pursue anything beyond that unsteady foundation. "Sorry, just the jukebox," I stammered, glancing back at the Iceman one last time. But he had already returned his focus to the worn tabletop, his presence slowly fading like a dream. I felt the weight of disappointment settle on my shoulders, curling my spine. Ben slid into the booth opposite me, his smile bright but eyes darting toward the far corner. "You okay? You seem a bit out of it," he asked, concern coloring his tone. I nodded, forcing a smile that felt brittle, even to me. Beneath the distraction of his lively stories about our childhood, a tension bloomed, nagging at me. I was supposed to feel safe and happy in Ben's presence, yet an unsettling mystery lingered. As he spoke, I glanced toward the Iceman again, only to find he was no longer there. A shadow slipped out the door, a fleeting whisper of mystery disappearing into the night. I struggled to comprehend the swirl of emotions bubbling in my chest. It was both thrilling and terrifying. "Are you going to the winter festival tomorrow?" Ben asked, his enthusiasm momentarily pulling me from my thoughts. The annual event promised music and warmth, a celebration meant to lift spirits in a town often cloaked in cold. Mia would be there, filled with joy and laughter. "That I haven't decided yet," I muttered, avoiding his gaze. A flicker of hope sprouted at the thought of seeing the Iceman again, of peeling back layers cloaked in shadows. Yet, guilt gnawed at me like a hungry beast. I couldn't ignore Ben, who had stood by me through my darkest struggles, but my heart whispered of possibilities I longed to explore. "Come on. It'll be fun. Let me show you how much I've grown," he teased, trying to ease the tension with a playful smirk as he flexed his muscles jokingly. In that moment, I felt lighter, even as the desire to chase the unknown pulled at the very fibers of my being. "Okay," I relented, hoping the commitment to spend time with him might ground my erratic thoughts, even just for the night. Maybe the festival could offer both connection with Ben and a chance to reignite the spark of mystery that had so unexpectedly found its way into my life. But as we finished our drinks and slipped back outside into the bitter chill, a distant howl of wind carried a warning, a reminder that secrets and shadows lurked just beyond view. The next day dawned with a light blanket of fresh snow, glistening as if to mask the secrets buried beneath the surface. The festival burst to life, and for a moment, I allowed myself to be swept up in the warmth of camaraderie. Mia was glowing, pulling me into the swirling crowd. But, even amid the laughter and the festivities, a lingering sense of foreboding nestled in my gut. I caught glimpses of the Iceman, fleeting a hint of dark clothing against white landscapes. Isn't he just a myth? I found myself asking Mia as we paused near a bonfire, the flames crackling wildly. "They say he haunts the town," she shrugged, her cheeks flushed. "A myth or not, he must have some kind of story. But let's not dwell on shadows tonight. Focus on the light." But it was too late. His presence shadowed my every thought. A pull, deeper than mere curiosity, urged me toward the darker edges of the festival, corners where laughter faded into whispers. Just then, I spotted a figure silhouetted against the trees at the far end of the carnival. A tall man with an unmistakable aura of solitude, the Iceman. My heart raced again, and this time, I didn't second-guess myself. I needed to uncover the truth behind the enigma, even if it meant confronting my own fears along the way. "Hey, I'll be right back." I called to Mia and Ben, my feet moving before my mind could hesitate. As I drew closer, the cold wrapped tightly around me like a long-lost love, and just as I was about to call out to him, a loud crash erupted from behind me. I spun around to see chaos unfolding. A crowd parted as a young girl stumbled onto the icy path, tripping and falling. Gasps filled the air, and instinct kicked in that I rushed to help, but the Iceman did something unexpected. He moved too, faster than I thought possible, expertly catching her before she hit the ground. His presence was magnetic, drawing everyone's eyes, and the world stilled as I found myself caught between awe and fear. "Stay close to me," he whispered just above the chaos, eyes flicking to mine momentarily. They were stormy and full of secrets, his voice a low rumble that sent shivers down my spine. A fleeting connection formed between us, as the world slipped away, but as the girl was helped back to her feet, the spell broke. The Iceman stepped back, blending into the corner of shadow once more, leaving me breathless and bewildered. My heart thundered in my chest, venomous doubt tearing through me, aching to confront him. But would he even want that? "Are you all right?" Ben's voice drew me back, but his warmth felt distant now, muted. I glanced back toward the shadows. The fleeting mystery of the Iceman lingered like a ghost, twisting my reality into unseen shapes, and just then, a chilling realization washed over me as I felt the weight of the secrets that loomed in the atmosphere, threatening to unravel everything I thought I knew. The ice was thin, and the danger was real. Would diving into the unknown lead me to love or heartbreak? The answer awaited just beyond the shadows. The flickering lights of the winter festival swirled around me, vibrant and hectic, as I struggled to regain my footing. The warmth of the bonfire seemed a cruel contrast to the chill gnawing at my heart. Ben stood by my side, his brow furrowed with concern, but I could hardly hear him through the roar of thoughts clashing in my mind. "Are you sure you're okay?" he pressed, his voice strained, breaking through the fog. The festival's laughter and music felt like distant echoes as I focused on the icy void left by the Iceman's sudden departure. "Yeah, just I thought I saw something." I waved a hand dismissively, though I could still feel the permanence of his gaze scorched into my memory. "It'll be fine," I added, forcing a smile that didn't quite meet my eyes. Ben studied me before his expression softened. "Let's grab some hot cocoa. You need something to warm you up." With that, he grabbed my hand and led me further into the throng, his presence steady amidst the swirling chaos. But as I walked alongside him, each step seemed to deepen the fissure forming between my heart and my head. I clung to the idea of safety that Ben offered while simultaneously yearning for the thrill of the unknown. It felt like a wrestling match, and I didn't know which side would win. The aroma of hot chocolate wafted through the air, punctuated by the sweet sound of a nearby singing competition. I could hear the crowd cheering and clapping, but all of it felt muted against the thundering of my heart. We finally reached a small stand, and as I sipped on the warm liquid, the rich chocolate slipped down my throat, momentarily soothing the turmoil inside. "Mia and the others are over there, getting ready for the dance," Ben exclaimed, his eyes brightening with anticipation. "Are you ready to join in?" "Sure," I said absently, but part of me remained fixated on what lay beyond the festival's confines. A soft sigh escaped my lips as I stole a glance away from the revelry, yearning to catch another glimpse of the Iceman. Suddenly, the crowd erupted into cheers as a girl, no older than 10, took the small stage, her confidence shining beneath the lights. As she began to sing, her voice fragile yet powerful, it struck a chord deep within me, resonating with emotions I had long kept hidden. "See? This is what I'm talking about," Ben said, his excitement infectious as we watched the performance. I couldn't help but smile at his enthusiasm, even as my heart ached in rebellion against the quiet longing whispering of possible connections amidst the familiar. But in those moments of joy, I couldn't shake the feeling of being torn between the safety of friendship and the thrill of potential love. "Let's dance," Ben urged, pulling me toward the makeshift dance floor. The joyful strains of music filled the air, and I allowed myself to be swept away in the moment, moving in rhythm with Ben while inwardly battling the pull of my heart's inconsistencies. As we twirled and swayed, all around us blurred into a swirl of warmth and light. Each laugh and every twirl brought with it a flicker of hope, but the lingering presence of the Iceman promised something I couldn't understand. Then, everything shifted. The music faded and the lights dimmed slightly, the laughter dulled to background noise. In a crowd full of faces, I suddenly became aware of a single figure standing just beyond the edge of the glowing lights. The Iceman, shrouded in shadows, watching with an intensity that sent a thrill down my spine. I felt Ben's hand tighten around mine, a grounding force amid the chaos. "What's wrong? You're zoning out again." I faltered, torn between the magnetic pull of the Iceman and the safe familiarity of Ben. "I think I saw someone." "Who?" Ben turned, his gaze sweeping the area around us. I hesitated, opening my mouth to mention the Iceman but closing it again as uncertainty quivered through me. It felt wrong to bring him into this. Ben had always been there, and yet, there was something compelling about the mysterious stranger standing just outside the warmth of our circle, a promise of adventure. And heartbreak in equal measure. "Nothing," I finally admitted, the words tasting bittersweet on my tongue. The moment stretched between us, heavy with unspoken truths. As we returned to the music, laughter resumed, but my heart beat a reckless tempo, the uncertainty swelling in my chest. Doubts whispered in my ear, sowing seeds of discontent. What if the Iceman wasn't what I hoped? What if pursuing him shattered what I had with Ben? Just as I steeled myself to push those thoughts aside, a flash of movement caught my eye from the corner of the festival. My heart leapt into my throat as I recognized the familiar silhouette of the Iceman, but he wasn't alone. Standing beside him was another figure, and as they moved closer toward the bonfire, I caught a glimpse of their face. Recognition slammed into me like the cold breeze aforementioned. It was Mia. Ben, we need to go. I squeezed his hand, urgency swelling inside me. Now. What is it? He asked, concern etched across his face as I pulled him away from the dance floor and through the crowd. But even as we hurried, I couldn't shake the chill of apprehension that had settled in my bones. Whatever secret lay between the Iceman and Mia felt like a precarious weight, threatening to tip my world off its axis. Our surroundings blurred, panic clawing at my thoughts. If Mia and the Iceman were connected, what would that mean for us? How deep did the unknown go, and could uncovering the truth heal the wounds tightening around my heart, or would it plunge me into icy depths I could not swim out of? The festival lights dimmed further as I strained to keep my focus on what lay ahead, fear and hope warring within me as we plunged through the waves of animated revelers. No turning back now. The shadows of the festival loomed heavy even as I could feel the fragile light of possibility shimmering just beyond it, daring me to take that leap. As Ben and I navigated through the crowd, urgency filled the spaces between my breaths. I couldn't shake the unsettling image of Mia beside the Iceman from my mind, every fiber of my being felt at odds, like a taut string ready to snap. Can you tell me what's going on? Ben's voice cut through the haze of my thoughts, but I could barely process the question. My eyes darted, scanning faces, trying to pinpoint where Mia had gone. I could feel Ben's hand nearly tightening around my wrist, a flurry of confusion mixed with concern danced in his expression. I saw someone I need to talk to, I said, trying to brush away the growing dread coiling in my stomach. But beneath the surface, the truth simmered, a truth that gnawed at the edges of my heart. With each step, I pushed aside the nagging feeling that there was more to Mia's connection with the Iceman than I understood. She had always been a steadfast friend, someone who brightened my days with laughter and warmth. But this felt different, an unsettling gravity hung in the air, weighing down the simple joy of the festival around us. Mia. I called out, voice rising above the music, desperation clawing at me. Glancing over my shoulder, I saw Ben's expression shift to concern, the warmth of the celebration now a distant hum as I felt the world compress around my racing heart. But Mia didn't respond. Instead, she slipped further into the shadows at the periphery of the festival grounds. I could almost sense her presence, a flicker of familiarity mixed with something foreboding. And just like that, the widening gap between us felt irrevocable, like an icy chasm that promised to swallow our past whole. Come on, she's got to be around here, I urged, half to myself and half to Ben as we moved toward the bonfire's glow. Each flicker illuminated moments of laughter and light, but here, where shadows loomed heavy, the bright colors of the festival seemed to dulling my heartbeat. Suddenly, an unexpected warmth washed over me as we passed a small gathering of children, their faces aglow with the magic of the festival. A little girl, probably no older than 6, reached out, clutching a handmade ornament. "Do you want to join us?" she asked, her innocence piercing through my worry. For a moment, I hesitated, caught in the sweetness of her gaze. Laughter bubbled from her friends, a sound imbued with pure joy, uncomplicated by the complexities of the world. It was a reminder, however fragile, that there still existed moments of beauty amidst chaos, but just as quickly as it arrived, that warmth faded as the haunting specter of the Iceman settled back into view beside Mia. My stomach dropped as I witnessed her lean in close to him, their murmured conversation commanding attention while I felt like an outsider, peering through the glass of my own isolation. "Ben," I began, desperately wanting to share the heaviness weighing against my chest, but part of me feared his reaction. Would he think I was being irrational? Jealous? Or would he see the truth that shimmered just beneath the surface, that the Iceman held a grip on my heart I couldn't quite comprehend? "Mia." I shouted again, louder this time, drawing the eyes of festival-goers. Ben's hand tightened around me, urging caution, but my instincts drove me forward. With each step, the shadows grew longer, their presence wrapping around me like a chill I couldn't shake. Mia turned, her eyes wide, an emotion flickering across her face that I couldn't quite place: panic, surprise, or something deeper. As I neared, I felt disoriented by the way everything swirled around me, the colors of the festival spinning into a kaleidoscope freed from sense. What are you doing? I need to talk to you. I pressed, my cheeks flushing with a mixture of frustration and fear. Ben stood a step behind, confusion painted across his features. Mia's gaze darted to the Iceman, then back to me. She hesitated, uncertainty shimmering in her eyes, before her voice dropped to a whisper. I can't right now, please. Just trust me. Trust you. I echoed, disbelief creeping into my tone. How could I trust anything when I felt so helplessly drawn to the unknown, the allure of the Iceman? Just give me time. I promise it's not what it looks like, Mia pleaded, her eyes flickering with emotions I couldn't decipher. I watched her step back, her connection with the Iceman undeniable even as she tried to break away from it. For a brief moment, I considered retreating. Perhaps I'd be safer in the warmth of the festival, away from the cold grip of the unknown. Yet, the knowledge that she was hiding something important, ignited a heat inside me that refused to be extinguished. What did you get mixed up in, Mia? Who is he? I managed to ask, feeling as though I stood at the precipice of a revelation that would forever change everything. Suddenly, the Iceman turned, his eyes locking on mine with an intensity that sucked the air from my lungs. It felt as though he were beckoning me closer, whispering promises I had yet to fully understand. I could sense that Mia's world was intertwined with his, a web of secrets I had yet to uncover, and then, as if sensing the charge that had just ignited between us, the Iceman took a step forward, breaking the fragile barrier. She's caught in between, just like you, he said, and his voice was both chilling and warm, like the echo of whispers on a winter's night. But there's still time to choose. For both of you. Shockwaves rippled through me, and I felt as if the very ground I stood on might come undone. What choice did I have? What did he mean? In that moment of clarity, as the lights around the festival flickered dimly, I realized that this night, far more than I bargained for, would surely change everything. But the true question loomed larger than either Ben or Mia. Could I bear to tether my heart to the edges of the unknown, or would I be lost in the cold forever? The weight of the Iceman's words lingered like a ghost in the air, wrapping around me as I fought to process what he meant. Around us, the festival pulsed with light and laughter, completely at odds with the chaos that wreaked havoc in my mind. Mia's features blended into the jubilant backdrop, her uncertainty stark against the vibrant colors of the world around us. Choose. I repeated, nearly breathless. What are you talking about? Ignoring my question, the Iceman's gaze shifted between Mia and me, as if he were a conductor orchestrating a delicate symphony only he could hear. You can follow the path of shadows, or you can step into the light. But the choice is yours, both of you. His voice sliced through the night, a stark reminder of the tension crackling around us. Mia's eyes, once filled with mischief and warmth, glimmered with an anxious edge. I just need time to figure this out, she whispered, each word trembling like leaves in a storm. You don't understand what's at stake. At stake. Those words sliced into me, igniting a burning desire to uncover the truth hidden beneath her hesitation. I wanted to shake her, demand answers, as feelings of protectiveness and betrayal swirled inside me like an uncontained whirlpool. Ben shifted uncomfortably beside me, his presence grounding yet unnervingly quiet. Maybe we should just walk away, he suggested, his voice low, laced with unease. Let's find some space, clear our heads, but my heart pulled me toward Mia, defiance igniting as I took a step closer. No. We can't just stand here pretending everything is okay. You owe me more than cryptic hints. The words burst out, holding a mix of anger and desperation. I could no longer bury the feelings that screamed from within. Fear enveloped me as I realized I was losing her. Suddenly, Mia reached out, her fingers brushing my arm like a whispered promise, though I didn't know what she was promising. Please, she implored, her voice barely above the sound of laughter and music. You need to trust me, this is bigger than both of us. Her touch reached into the deepest corners of my heart, deepening my confusion. Trust? Trust was fragile, often shattered by the weight of hidden truths. What's really going on with you and him? I pressed, desperation spilling over into anguish. I can feel the distance growing between us, Mia. With a flicker of resolve, Mia opened her mouth to speak, but the Iceman interjected, his voice smooth like ice on glass. She has to confront her own darkness first. His tone bored into my resolve like a knife. Until then, the truth remains shrouded. A jolt of anger surged through me. And what darkness is that? I asked, scanning Mia's expression for answers but finding only shadows. What have you gotten yourself involved in? The Iceman's presence felt pervasive, filling the space between us like a barrier I couldn't breach. This isn't just about her, he stated, unexpectedly calm. It's about choices that echo far beyond this night, choices that bind us in ways we do not yet understand. Mia's face twisted in conflict, yet her determination pulsed like a steady heartbeat. Can't you see? There's something happening, something that ties us all together, and I can't let it go without figuring it out. I just need a little more time. Among the swirling emotions, I felt the fleeting light of hope begin to flicker. What if we figured it out together? I suggested, my words filled with a mix of longing for the past and a desperate plea for understanding. I want to help you, Mia. Don't shut me out, please. But in that moment, the joyous laughter around us turned grim, the echo of merriment fading with every heartbeat. The Iceman's lips curled into a slight smirk, a flicker of something sinister lurking beneath the surface. It may be too late for that, he said, an almost playful tone mocking the vulnerability that hung in the air. Mia shot him a look filled with panic, and I felt my heart sink. What do you mean? I asked, sensing an impending storm in the shadows of the night. And just like that, a series of piercing screams erupted in the distance, echoing across the festival grounds, jolting the air with chaos. My heart raced as faces around us turned pale, mouths agape in terror. Mia, what's happening? I whispered, my body filled with dread as I sought her eyes, but they were trained beyond me, fixated on a new, menacing presence emerging at the edge of the festival, a presence garbed in shadows. The Iceman stepped back, a satisfied glint flickering in his gaze as the chaos began to unfold. Your path is clearer now, he said, voice low, dripping with anticipation. What will you choose? In that moment, I realized this night held more than just the weight of choice. It bore the burden of something darker than I could ever have imagined. As fear tightened its grip around me, the faces of laughter turned to screams, and I grasped that the worlds of shadows and light might be more intertwined than I was prepared to realize. Caught between the unraveling reality and the uncertain truth of Mia, I struggled to breathe, knowing that everything was about to change. And just as I opened my mouth to call out to her, the shadows swept closer, dragging us into a fate that neither of us had anticipated. The frigid air crackled with terror as the screams amplified, a macabre symphony overlaid with the festivity that had just moments ago enveloped us in joy. My heart thundered in my chest as I instinctively took a step closer to Mia, desperately seeking the comfort of her presence. We need to get out of here, I urged, though my voice trembled like a fragile leaf caught in the wind. Mia's grip on my arm tightened, her eyes wide with fear but also determination. We can't leave. Not now. I could feel her heartbeat frantic against her skin, echoing my own disarray. If I don't face this now, it will haunt me forever. The shadows were shifting, settling menacingly around the festival's edge, obscuring all that was familiar and safe. It felt as though the very night was conspiring against us. My stomach twisted, dread coiling around me like a snake, squeezing tighter with every harrowing scream that shattered the night. That I don't care about the festival. I snapped, the words escaping in a rush. I care about you. Let's find somewhere safe. But the severity in Mia's gaze gave me pause, causing my heart to wrench against a tide of fear and frustration. How could I help her when she would not let me in? Suddenly, the Iceman stepped forward, a deliberate calm washing over him as he surveyed the scene like a puppeteer assessing his marionettes. It's already begun, he murmured, almost gleefully. The shadows want their due. Your choice is not just about facing fears, dear Mia, but also unearthing truths hidden beneath layers of ignorance. What do you mean? I shouted, the words laced with desperation, the shadows tugging at the edges of my resolve. The ice man's lips curled into a sardonic smile as he gestured toward the festivity's heart, now distorted and unraveling. You've been blind to the connections, haven't you? To the essence of what ties you all together. But soon, you'll feel the weight of your choices and their consequences. Mia inhaled sharply as the shadows began to form into shapes, whispers of past grievances and sorrow unspooling amidst the chaos. I could see fear etched on her face, and the sight ignited a fire within me. Mia, please, I pleaded, my voice cracking under the weight of my emotions. I'm here with you. You don't have to do this alone. For a fleeting moment, her face softened. Hope flickered within her like a candle fighting against a storm. You don't understand. If I don't step into the darkness, things will only get worse. The shadows have been waiting. The gravity of her words wrapped around us, pulling me deeper into the dark whirlpool of her reality. Then, from the shadows, a figure lunged forward, a silhouette sharp against the chaos. I froze, my instincts screaming, prepared to fight for Mia, for us. But as the figure drew closer, I realized it was a girl, no older than I was, her eyes wide with fear and desperation. Help! Please! She cried, her voice panic-stricken amidst the pleas that echoed through the festival. Without thinking, I dashed toward her, my instincts driving me forward. What's wrong? I demanded, my heart racing. Something is coming. The darkness, it's not just in the shadows. It's here, and it's hungry. She gasped for breath, her fear infectious as she pointed back toward where the shadows coiled like living entities, a vortex ready to consume everything in its path. You have to stop it before it reaches the heart. I turned back to Mia, her expression torn between fear and awe as she came to terms with the implications of the girl's words. We have to think, we have to strategize, I urged, my voice urgent, forcing clarity into the chaos around us. Mia's gaze locked onto mine, her resolve bubbling to the surface like a rising tide. If we don't confront what's hidden, we'll be swallowed whole. As she spoke, echoed whispers danced in the air, threading the connections of our intertwined fates, ancient truths lingering just beyond our reach. Memories burned before my eyes like constellations in the night sky, gleaming with the specter of pain and lost dreams, but just as I thought we were aligning our wills, a sharp roar sliced through the air, a thrumming pulse reverberating against my skin, shaking the very ground beneath us. The shadows churned faster, and the girl fell to the ground, fear etched into her features. It's too late. She screamed, her voice swallowed by the rising cacophony that a sinking dread filled my chest as I looked at Mia, who seemed both terrified and ready to embrace whatever challenge lay ahead. We have to go now, she urged, her eyes searching mine for affirmation, but before we could move, the Iceman's laughter cascaded around us, chilling and disarming. Oh, it's just beginning. Your choices will shape the very fabric of reality tonight. As I wrestled with the words, wanting nothing more than to flee from this chaos with Mia in tow, another piercing scream erupted from the depths of the shadows, revealing the true nature of the encroaching Three-Da figure cloaked in darkness, towering and vast, its eyes glowing with a knowing light that illuminated unnerving truths. Time seemed to stand still, and I could feel the world tilt precariously on the edge of eternity. It was then that I understood the Iceman's words, intricately woven with the dire reality before us. We wouldn't just be fighting for our lives, but for the essence of what we deemed as hope, love, and trust. In that heartbeat of uncertainty, it became painfully clear that the choice before us was not simply about confronting the darkness, it was about our very existence, and perhaps, a chance for a brighter dawn or an irreversible descent into despair. The shadows loomed ever closer, and as the girl's hand slipped from my grasp, I realized with chilling clarity that the night was far from over. Time was slipping through my fingers, and the whisper of shadows called out for us, promising a future that felt both terrifying and unresolved, leaving me with one haunting question: how much would I sacrifice to discover the truth? The shadows morphed into a living tapestry of dread and despair, swirling around us like tempestuous spirits unleashed from a forgotten realm. Whispers echoed from the darkness, taunting us with fragmented memories of past decisions, lives intertwined, regrets simmering just beneath the surface. The girl's panicked expression struck me as I desperately searched for a way to combat the looming horror. My heart raced, every pulse echoing the urgency to protect not just Mia, but all of us caught within this nightmare. Mia. My voice emerged, strained but firm. We need to stick together. No matter what happens, don't let go of my hand. Do you promise? She offered a shaky smile, ignited by the spark of my words. I promise, she replied, her gaze unwavering. In that brief moment, we forged a pact tempered by fear and the flicker of hope, standing together against the tidal wave of shadows. As we turned to confront the looming darkness, the Iceman stepped closer, his presence exuding an unsettling calm. Your resolve is admirable, he intoned, his voice honeyed with malice. But courage must be tempered with understanding. The deepest fears reside within, and they may emerge to shatter your fragile bonds. The weight of his words pressed down on me like a thick fog, yet I refused to let despair take root. I could see Mia bracing against the onslaught of his manipulation, her spirit flickering like a stubborn flame against an icy breeze. In my chest, an unwavering faith began to blossom. We will not be divided. I shouted, throwing the words into the abyss, as if to dare the shadows to challenge us. Yet, even as I spoke, new horrors began to manifest. Voices sharp and familiar burst forth from the swirling murk, dragging me deeper into the chasm of my own insecurities. You think you understand love? They sneered, piercing into the tender places of my heart. You've only found a momentary distraction. That I flinched at the sound of my father's voice, a specter of disappointment threading through my thoughts, his criticisms a lifetime of burdens I thought I had outgrown. That's not true. I yelled, frustration breaking free, spiraling into the void. Love is not a distraction. It's a sanctuary. Mia squeezed my hand tighter, anchoring me as she calmed the storm within. You're not alone, she whispered, a lifeline thrown into the sea of my tumultuous thoughts. Her presence was magnetic, a soothing balm amidst the tumult. We all hold fear, but we don't have to let it define us. With renewed vigor, I turned to face the shadows, channeling the warmth of our shared moments, baskings in laughter, whispers under starlit skies, each memory igniting a flicker of light to dispel the encroaching despair. We don't fear the dark, we embrace it, I declared, and as the words left my lips, Mia took a step forward, drawing strength in my resolve. In that shared moment, the memories that haunted me transformed into an arsenal of courage. And somewhere within the darkness, I could see fissures of light emerging, a glimmer of our combined energy fracturing the veil, pushing against the shadows. Yet just as hope began to seep in, a shuddering roar erupted from the heart of the darkness, reverberating through my very bones. The shadows coiled tighter, morphing into monstrous forms, creatures born from the deepest vulnerabilities of the heart. They licked at the edges of our reality like hungry flames, and I struggled against the instinct to flee. Your love is a lie. One of the figures shrieked, contorted and twisted, embodying every doubt I harbored about our bond. You base your worth on fleeting moments. You'll never escape the truth. In that moment, I found the courage to confront my intangible fears because of the one hand still entwined in mine. You don't dictate our narrative. I shouted, channeling the defiance that surged in Mia's eyes. Her unwavering faith gave me strength. Together we could obliterate the specters of doubt that long haunted us. Mia stepped ahead, and suddenly the ground trembled beneath our feet as the heart of the festival pulsed with an iridescent glow. Focus! She shouted. Feel the warmth between us, it can counteract the cold. Love isn't just words, it's a commitment that shifts the very fabric of our existence. The words resonated, echoing through the tempest, calling forth memories woven from the threads of our shared journey. It wasn't just a shield from the storm, it was a lifeline to everything I had ever cherished. I thought of her laughter, her vulnerabilities, and our moments of connection, stitched together by shared dreams. Yet, just as I felt the power of our love pushing back against the darkness, a figure emerged from the curling shadows, an embodiment of everything I wished to hide. The Iceman stepped forward, his icy breath washing over our flickering fire like a bitter winter's chill. Truly touching, but utterly misguided, he sneered. Your bond pales against the reality of sacrifice required to free yourselves. With a flourish, he gestured toward the specters of our past, each twisting with anguish, spiraling toward us in menacing circling coalescence. The weight of his words crashed down like a breaking wave. If you wish to confront the shadows, a sacrifice is demanded. One of you must willingly surrender to the darkness that I and that heartbeat of paralyzing fear. I turned to Mia, and in her eyes, I saw the flicker of determination mirrored by my own clash of emotion. Would she truly want to choose between us? The world shuddered around me, threatening to consume every precious thread of connection we had woven thus far. It was too much to fathom the heart-wrenching reality of sacrifice hanging heavy in the air, a promise of heartache and discord that sought to tear us apart. No. I screamed, the word escaping as a desperate plea, reverberating against the shadows gathering like dark clouds above us. Well, face whatever this is. Together, but even as I spoke, a chilling realization dawned upon me, one that could shatter our fragile resolve. What if winning this battle meant sacrificing something far deeper than either of us could bear? The shadows danced ominously around us, a storm of despair whipped into a frenzy by the Iceman's cold laughter. What was once a blurred line between hope and nightmare now morphed into a pronounced abyss, one that threatened to engulf everything we cherished. My breath quickened, and with it arose an anxiety that clawed at my insides. What does he want from us? The words spilled from my lips before I could cage them back. The Iceman, steeped in an aura of wicked charm, savored my turmoil. Despair is a price of love, he hissed, his voice dripping with malice. To truly embrace it, you must sacrifice what you hold dear. Only then can you unveil the true nature of your connection. That I felt Mia's grip tighten, the warmth of her hand a reminder that I was not alone. You're wrong, she proclaimed, her tone firm. Love is not about sacrifice, it's about understanding, acceptance, and the strength that emerges from vulnerability. Her bravery lit a spark within me, reminding me of all we'd overcome together. We had already braved the storms of disbelief and uncertainty, why let fear triumph now? You think you know love? I spat back at the Iceman, drawing courage from Mia. It's the very thing that allows us to face our darkest fears, not cower under them. The roiling shadows seemed to recoil momentarily, as if momentarily disrupted by our defiance. But the Iceman's laughter rang out again, cold and mocking. Ah, the fervor of youth! But the truth, dear hearts, is that love can blind just as easily as it can illuminate. Choose, who will make the sacrifice. For a moment, the world fell silent. The shadows grew heavier, and my heart thudded painfully against my ribcage as I exchanged a look with Maya, an unspoken conversation echoing in the depths of our understanding. In her eyes, I glimpsed a myriad of emotions: fear, determination, but also an unwavering bond, fragile yet evidently resilient. Think, Mia, I urged, my voice shaking. We can't let him dictate our choices. Love is bigger than us, far bigger than this punishment he imagines. The Iceman thrust forward his icy hand, issuing forth images that crawled into view, flickering like old film reels, heart-wrenching moments of my childhood, lost opportunities, and holidays filled with hollow laughter, a reminder of the isolation I had often felt. Each scene poured salt into old wounds, filling the air with an atmosphere of regret that clung to my skin like a second layer. Mia, I said, the urgency of her presence grounding me in the fading light. No matter what he shows us, we cannot forget our truths. We create our own narrative, your truths. The Iceman mocked. Events buried beneath the surface. Layers of lies you refuse to confront. Suddenly, from the swirling depths of memory emerged the spectral face of Alex, my childhood friend turned bitter shadow. You've run from the weight of your choices, haven't you? You abandoned me when I needed you most, he accused, his eyes oozing pain. How can you claim to love when you can't even face your betrayals? The accusation struck like a thunderbolt, igniting a firestorm of conflicting emotions within me. My mind whirled back to that fateful day when I walked away from him, a decision driven by fear, guilt, and denial. I thought it was best, I murmured, grasping at justification. But I didn't know. No. Mia's voice pierced my self-loathing like a clarion call. You are not defined by this. Your journey isn't just a path of regrets, it's also about understanding and growth. Love is about rebuilding, evolving together. Suddenly, I felt a sense of connection with her, as if the very fabric of our beings pulsed in sync beneath the crushing weight of despair. With every word, Mia built bridges over the chasms born from fear and remorse, knitting together the threads of my fractured identity. Yet, as the shadows closed in again, I wondered if we could overcome the Iceman's incessant onslaught. His laughter morphed into something more sinister, reverberating in the darkness. But what if love demands more than acceptance or understanding? What if the price to pay is a beloved dream? How will you rise to the challenge when faced with the worst of yourselves? The dread cascading from his lips wrapped around me like a vine, tightening as I pieced together the unthinkable. My heart raced at the thought, what if loving deeply transformed into letting go of everything I had ever known? In that dread-filled silence, I felt the enormity of that reality. Mia's hand felt warm, steady, and somehow, it was all I needed to cling to. Yet as I wrestled with my thoughts, a horrifying possibility unfolded. What if our love meant weighing our dreams against each other's hearts? The knowledge stung, and for a fleeting moment, doubt slipped through the cracks. Mia, I whispered, fear threading through my words. What if it's true? What if the only way to win is to lose? Before I could ponder any further, the shadows surged forward, and a crack tore through their billowing forms. In that moment of chaos, I could feel the Iceman's unsettling grin bore into my very soul, his words wrapping around me like chains, threatening to bind me to a fate I could not comprehend. The ground beneath us began to crack, releasing a tremor that sent shockwaves into our hearts. Desperately glancing at Mia, I could only hope that love could weave a path back to the light, one not even the Iceman could extinguish. But now, with the threat of sacrifice looming larger than ever, I feared we might lose more than just our way. As the shadows clawed their way forward, engulfing the last remnants of light, a terrifying thought consumed me. Perhaps to shield ourselves from darkness meant leaving behind the very essence of who we were, each other. The chilling realization bore down, and I could only wonder if love truly held the power to conquer, or if in our quest for connection, we were destined to be torn apart. The shadows thrashed and churned, the weight of despair palpable in the frigid air. I felt trapped, utterly ensnared in the Iceman's cruel game, his laughter reverberating like a death knell against my ears. Mia held my gaze, her eyes fierce and unwavering in the overwhelming dark. But beneath her strength, I sensed a flicker of uncertainty, a shared trepidation that threatened to undo us. Mia, I choked out, my heart racing with the fear of what might come. What if we can't win? What if he forces us to choose between each other and everything we hold dear? Her grip tightened around my hand, warmth and vitality threading through my veins. We have to believe, even when it feels impossible, she said, her voice steady despite the tremors of doubt pulling at me. Love is worth fighting for. It's bigger than whatever he wants us to believe. With those words, she bolstered my spirit, reminding me of our shared journey, how we had lifted each other through our darkest hours. The shadows flickered, and within them, I could see remnants of our joyful memories. Late-night ice cream runs, laughter so loud it filled the night sky, evenings wrapped in blankets, telling secrets that melted away our fears. Each moment balanced precariously on the precipice of that looming sacrifice, and suddenly they were not just memories, they were our lifeblood, reminders of who we were together. But the Iceman would not be glossed over so easily. Ah, sweet naivety. His tone dripped with contempt. Can love truly withstand such trials? One of you must carry the burden of loss to emerge stronger. What will it be, our dreams or your heart? I encourage you to choose wisely. His smirk chilled my blood, and just as I thought his words could not wound further, another vision twisted into the air. My parents' faces appeared, eyes filled with disappointment and sorrow. You've let us down, they whispered, the words sharp and cutting. Your failures haunt us. Do you care more for your selfish desires than the legacy we built for you? Bitterness coursed through my veins as memories of their expectations wrestled with my anxiety. Did they ever understand the weight of their dreams? Were they truly my own? Panic gripped my heart. I had been struggling under a weight I had not chosen. But in that moment of anguish, I caught Mia's gaze, her steadfast resolve ignited a spark within me. No, I breathed, shaking my head fiercely. I won't let you control me. I refuse to be shackled to my past. Freedom is an illusion, isn't it? The Iceman murmured, enraptured by my struggle, eyes glinting like frost-coated blades. What are you willing to lose, I wonder, in the name of love? With each word, something broke within me, dissipating like fog in the morning light. I turned to face Mia, the truth dawning on me like the first breath of spring after a long winter. Love was about embracing imperfections, not evading them. Maybe it's not just about sacrifice, I said, but about learning to carry each other's burdens. It's about finding light in our shared darkness. Her gaze softened, tears sparkling like stars in the remnants of the swirling shadows. Yes. Let's face this together, no matter the cost. The Iceman reeled back, annoyance flashing across his frozen face. Together, you say? But that would require accepting each other's flaws, and embracing vulnerability, not burying it beneath weighty sacrifice. Those words reverberated between us, undulating through the darkness like a lighthouse beam cutting through the stormy night. I looked into Mia's eyes, committing to this hope against all odds. We can do this, I whispered, drawing on the reservoir of warmth that radiated from our bond. We've already lost so much, we won't let them win by tearing us apart now. As the shadows began to recoil momentarily, the Iceman's form flickered, a sign that our resolve was having an effect, yet the icy grip of his energy only seemed to tighten around us. You think yourself strong? He spat, his form twisting with rage. Perhaps I have underestimated the power of your bond, but you're merely delaying the inevitable. The hour of reckoning draws near. In that moment, I sensed the ground shifting beneath us, the air crackled with confusion and inevitability. With every heartbeat, I could feel the impending darkness closing in, thrumming with an urgency that threatened to descend upon us like the crushing weight of time itself. The hesitation pricked at my heart. What was the choice we were truly making? Just as I was about to speak, a piercing cry shattered the air, a voice that thrummed with panic and desperation. Help! Someone, please! Startled, we turned toward the sound, heart rates quickening. The shadows parted reluctantly, revealing a figure trapped within their depths. Alex. He struggled against the inky tendrils, and in that moment, I realized that perhaps the darkness wasn't just consuming us, it was consuming him too. Alex. I gasped, recognizing the raw terror on his face, recalling all the unresolved heartache that hung between us like a weight. What are you doing here, Nodant? He screamed, his eyes wild with fear as he clung to a vestige of hope. You can't save me, you'll lose your love. Just walk away. The declaration echoed in my mind like a blaring siren, setting off alarms that clanged wildly in the chambers of my heart. As the shadows writhed with anticipation, the choice bore down upon me with an unbearable weight. Should we save him at the risk of our own bond? Mia, I whispered, uncertainty pooling in my gut. What do we do? But the Iceman's gaze was fixated on us, a predator waiting for the right moment to strike, and I knew time was running out. With a tumultuous surge of emotion, I reached for Mia, prepared for whatever came next. It felt like plunging into icy waters, with every heartbeat screaming at me to make a move. As the shadows danced closer, whispering promises of despair and sacrifice, I faced the heartbreaking truth. In that shattering moment, love demanded more than I had ever realized. Perhaps it required the undoing of our carefully guarded dreams. The realization hit me like a wave, crashing down and echoing in my very core. A chilling revelation surged forth. Would the true essence of our love stand firm against such darkness, or would it crumble beneath the weight of sacrifice? As the chaos swirled around us like a tempest, I felt the tether to my own despair tightening in response to Alex's plea. Each desperate scream and the pulsing shadows were reminders of pain, my own and everyone else's. But looking into Mia's eyes, I understood that the path ahead was murky, yet illuminated by the fierce glow of our shared belief in love. I couldn't let fear dictate our choices, we needed to choose courage. Alex! I called out, my voice steady despite the quaking dread that coursed through me. I'm not leaving you. You're my friend, and love means fighting for each other. The shadows writhed in irritation, but I pushed down my fear, feeling Mia squeeze my hand tighter. Remember the risks we took? My words fueled a flicker of remembrance in her gaze. Whatever shadow threatens to swallow us whole, we face it together. Whatever it takes. Even as the darkness contorted angrily around Alex, I saw a hint of hope break through the turbulent surface of despair. You don't understand. It's too late for me. You'll only be dragged down with me. He was frantic now, visible anguish clawing at his face. Let me go. Set yourselves free and keep your love. No. I shouted, unwavering. You are loved, Alex. It's never too late. We can all be free together. The words fell into the chasm, echoing against the oppressive shadows. As I stood there clinging to Mia's strength, the Iceman's low chuckle reverberated through the air, a reminder of the impossible stakes that loomed overhead. They are terribly naive, he hissed. Desperation cannot rewrite destiny. But it wasn't desperation that fueled me, it was conviction, a certainty that echoed through every fiber of my being. You think love is weakness, I countered, stepping forward, locking eyes with the Iceman. But it's our greatest strength. It drives us to confront our shadows instead of fleeing. His smirk faltered for just a moment, and I pressed on, determination swelling within. If we're bound by fear or regret, then yes, it could consume us. But love can shatter the very chains that bind us. Mia gasped softly beside me, a renewed fire lighting her eyes. Together, we can save Alex, she proclaimed, voice ringing with conviction. This darkness cannot control us, we reclaim our own stories. With renewed courage, I turned to Alex, reaching out my hand. Believe in us. We will fight for you. Love doesn't stop at our own hearts, it extends, embracing the wounded around us. In that moment, the very fabric of the darkness thinned, revealing glimmers of light between the shadows. Alex's eyes glistened with unshed tears as he reached for my hand, desperation melting into belief. Together, no matter what happens, we will break these chains, I affirmed. The shadows recoiled as our hands clasped, a chorus of bright energy surged through us, igniting our shared bond with newfound strength. The Iceman reeled back, confusion blooming in his eyes. No. This is not how it's supposed to be. You cannot unify against your fates. But we were already bursting through the barriers he had created between us. There stood three of yous anchored by the love we had shared, each scar a testament to our fights, and in that moment, we became an unstoppable force. In that rush of defiance, something extraordinary happened. The shadows began to retreat. The Iceman's confidence shattered, revealing an almost surprised vulnerability. What is this? The depths of love can't endure. Mia's voice rang through the chaos, unwavering. You're wrong. It's not that we lack pain, it's that we transform it, weave it into our journeys. And just like that, the shadows around us evaporated, leaving only warmth dazzling in its wake. Echoes of laughter began to swell back into the festival atmosphere, and with it came a rush of memories, ones not merely trapped in their frozen forms but filled with hope and connection. Mia looked at me with a smile that warmed the depths of my heart. We did it. We confronted the darkness. And finally, as the remnants of despair faded into nothing, the realities of happiness began to glow brighter than the chilling memories once held captive within the Iceman. It's time to embrace our story not as shadows but as vibrant lives, I affirmed. But weaving together the essence of our triumph, the Iceman's voice broke the moment. You believe you've won, but love can be fickle. Choose again, what is lost will return. In the overwhelming warmth of our victory, I suddenly realized what he meant. Love might ask us to sacrifice, but that sacrifice did not have to be ugly or born from darkness. It could be the unearthing of hope against despair, the reclamation of joy against pain, a reason to dance once more. Mia grasped my hand, and I felt the collective strength of our hearts. There is no need for sacrifice, not today, I declared, a realization blossoming. For the lives we live are worth so much more, more binding chains nor empty promises. As the world around us shimmered into clarity, I felt clarity unfold within my soul. The past held lessons, and memories ignited fierce emotion, a reminder that every heartbeat had led us here, alive and unbroken. Just then, the ice around the Iceman cracked, his laughter dissipating into fleeting echoes as he, too, faded into the light. And with that, we found ourselves back at the festival, laughter birthing like a fountain around us, love blooming in every corner. Amidst the vibrant colors and glowing lights, I pulled Mia closer, her warmth washing over every crevice of doubt lingering in me. This journey hadn't just revealed darkness, but illuminated the beauty of our resilience. And as the stars shone above us, I whispered the truth that had accompanied me on every step: it's in love that we discover our greatest strength, our greatest selves. In that moment, I watched as Mia's eyes sparkled, and I felt hope ignite within both of us, 2 hearts entwined, each carrying the reminder that forever, love holds the power to thaw even the coldest of souls. Together, we would shape our story, one of connection, joy, and everlasting warmth, reminding me always that even amidst the cold, we could emerge unscathed, drawing from the riches of love that lived within us. Even the coldest nights end, I thought, glancing at the vibrant dance of lights. And a single night can thaw a heart that dares to embrace it.